The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront. Good morning. On behalf of Attorney Karen Jimeno, I am Ferdi Salvador. While the country's inflation rate for this year is pegged at 3.33%, way better than last year's 6%, it seems that actual prices of basic goods in the local markets have soared so high. Many Filipinos are either swallowing the bitter reality or relying on their smarts to survive. Even award-winning actor John Arcilla posted on December 23rd to verbalize his frustration on the glaring rise prices on basic commodities. Amidst the efforts to contain inflation, is the government's managing the rising cost of basic goods? Joining us on Zoom is the President of Consumer Union of the Philippines, Attorney Rodel Taton. Good morning, Attorney Taton. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Good morning, Ferdi. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yes, Attorney, as President of the Consumers Union of the Philippines, what does your group do basically?
Our group, the Consumers Union of the Philippines, is basically promoting consumers' rights protection and consumers' welfare protection. And basically, we are a group that tries to educate people about their rights and welfare. And we are trying to move into this era where we want that Filipinos will be able to understand their rights as individuals, because it is human rights as well.
Yes, that's a very important job that you have. And do you feel like it's an uphill battle sometimes?
It is, especially right now that we are experiencing the changes, the sudden changes of prices. For example, the inflation rate is higher and all that. But I'm trying to look into from the perspective of an ordinary Filipino. There is a huge gap. I mean, from the different groups in the Philippines, we exactly understand and know how the people from the grassroots, how the people from the slums or from the laylayan, as we call it, they are suffering, and at the same time, while there's this huge gap, what is glaring is the value of money is very low. We eat the same rice, we have the same markets, but there is a difference in the way we buy things.
Yes, Attorney, but um, how do you feel, or in your opinion, how has the increase of basic goods or the prices of basic goods affect the daily lives of ordinary Filipinos?
It really affects the daily lives of Filipinos, because how much is the salary of an ordinary worker? And many of the Filipinos are not even working at all. And so this increasing prices of basic necessities, basic commodities are really having a great impact on the daily lives of the people. Imagine a family that has four members, for example, two children and mother and father. And in fact, in the reports, we have seen how much is the only budget, for example, for an ordinary daily consumption. And with the Christmas, for example, in Christmas time, so Noche Buena, we really can imagine how an ordinary Filipino thrive, celebrate Christmas. But other than celebrating Christmas, I think it is a fact and it is a sad reality that we are facing right now as a people, as Filipinos.
Yes, Attorney, syempre, pag Pasko, talagang we expect na tumataas ang mga presyo. But ano primary reasons for the increase in prices of basic goods? Do you think that, there's a lot of external factors. I mean, wars in different places, deficits in production of grain, let's say, in like Ukraine, typhoons. Anong opinion niyo?
There are just so many factors that we can consider. Like in the academic setting, it may be as talking about the impact of the oil prices abroad to the oil prices in the Philippines, and how this oil increase and its impact in the Filipino commodities. But simple sa simpleng pananaw ng ordinaryong Pilipino, ito lamang ay presyo, ordinaryong presyo or value of the Philippine peso, that we want to buy certain goods that are important for us to live a decent life every day. And I think there may be forces like supply, demand, and many other factors. But again, for an ordinary person, this is just about prices, and this is just about how much I will be getting something from my wallet, if or from my pocket, if there is something to take from my pocket still.
Correct. Attorney, yung inflation rate po natin for November 2024 is a little over 3%, which is within the government's target of between 2% to 4%. Why do you think it's not reflected or hindi po siya nafe-feel sa prices ng basic commodities?
Because number one, maybe at this season where when it's Christmas, there are bonuses and all that, and we feel like we wanted always to feel that we have enough to end the year. But if there is something that the Filipinos exactly feel is the continuing increase. If we look at the graph, there is a continuing increase, although there are efforts and statements coming from the administration that there will be an arrest of these increases, so that the people will have, at least for temporarily, will have to experience something that is something good, especially during this season where we buy a lot and the supply is low but the demand is higher.
Yes, attorney, I mean, I studied economics, and of course, there's theories behind that, but sometimes, it does not follow through with certain demands and supplies that are not, are not hitting each other on the head, basically, right? Of course, there's elasticity and inelasticity, right? And you can feel this definitely during the Christmas season. But as a theory, if the prices or if demand is higher, obviously prices will increase, right? But if prices increase, it means to say that there's a forecast of these consumer goods 12 months beforehand, because we already know everybody wants to buy the canned goods that you make, fruit salad with, right? So what policies that are adequately targeting the root causes of these inflation and high prices? I mean, is forecasting not part of this formula?
I think it should be, but looking at the theories, elasticity, whatever that is, for an ordinary Filipino, the meaning of that is simply right. Right now it can have different meanings for an ordinary Filipino, but we're trying to look into how forecasting and how, for example, the DTI, the Department of Agriculture, or other government offices are dealing with the value of pesos in relation to the value of prices that are in the market, and the capacity to buy and the capacity to have this thing, to maintain a very decent life today. It is simply not enough to discuss and look into these theories. What we are after for is, masarap ba ang ulam natin ngayon? Or masarap ba ang buko salad natin? These are beyond the books that we experience. But if we try to compare prices before, at the beginning of the year and until the end of the year, we can see there that malaki ang itinaas ng presyo. We appreciate the concern. We have heard several statements coming from the President of the Philippines and even from the key officials. But I think pronouncements are not enough. And I think we really badly need a specific action on the part of our government, so that the prices will not skyrocket at the beginning of the new year. And at the same time, the increases in different aspects, like the value of pesos, should really improve.
Attorney, I'm sure you've had dialogues with appropriate government agencies, like you mentioned, DTI, the Department of Agriculture. What policies have they been implementing based on your conversations with or dialogues with them to alleviate the financial strain on our Filipino citizens?
I think there are several policies on the part, especially sa part ng DTI. The DTI maintains a price limitation on certain goods na hindi pwedeng tumaas sa ganitong level, or especially sa value ng basic commodities, like ngayon nakita natin, no, ang polisiya in relation sa bigas, no, they are trying to look into the not only the importers but even to the rice traders na medyo nag-aabuso sa halaga ng presyo, kahit na we have certain policies already in place on that. Example lang po yan, no? And we imagine for example, rice, ang pinaka-basic natin bilang mga Pilipino. Ito po ay may mga different actions already na ginawa ang gobyerno natin, tulad ng pagbababa ng mga tariffs at the same time at a certain level.
Yes, of
Pero kung nangyayari, hindi naman umaapekto directly sa presyo, kasi there are places na they maintain the prices. So that's why our actions here should be really directed to calling this abusive or mapagsamantalang mga negosyante, na ang Pilipino naman bibili habang mura, or kung hindi man mura, sapat at tama sa at naaayon, no? And on the part of the Department of Agriculture and the DTI, I think really that there should be a specific enforcement of these policies and should not be limited to just by word of mouth.
Yes, Attorney. Well, thank you so much, Attorney, for joining us. And we look forward to more of your hard work. And I'm sure we're going to call you again once the time is appropriate. Thank you again, Attorney Rodel Taton, and have a great holiday. At the Forefront, we'll be right back after a short break.
I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point.
When you talk about quality of education, there are many challenges that must be overcome. One of them is technology.
As a pre-need insurance agency, you need really a reserve funds for contingency measures just in case.
She is back home.
She's back home.
And that's On Point. Join us again, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC.
Beauty, health, adventure. This is for you. Join Marie Lozano where she uncovers the untold stories and unexpected surprises in the world of lifestyle.
We wanted to create a space where we could dive into these topics not just by talking to experts, but experiencing the topics firsthand. Let me tell you about the Lifestyle Lab.
On BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Ferdi Salvador.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta, and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the industry leaders shaping our future.
And in each episode, we explore how they're staying ahead in their fields, one industry at a time.
Can bring luxury products, and that the Filipino nurses and the malasakit is really what makes us really good.
Compared to other industries like oil and gas, you can never compete salary-wise.
Industry Beacon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Two reasons why. I think the first one is I come from a rice farming background in Ilocos Norte. I have relatives that does rice farming and really saw the complexities that they saw every single day. And second is really my immersion in Singapore. Earlier this year, I went to Singapore and I interned for a startup that helped shrimp farmers manage the risks of disease testing in Vietnam. So having to understand that risks is the biggest, most vulnerable factors that affect farming, I tried to apply that in the Philippines, and AgriConnect came to be.
cheating, in fact, it's very painful. It can have a lot of emotional and psychological implications or impact on both parties involved. In fact, for those who were cheated on, they may go through a roller coaster of emotions. It can be very painful. It can be very traumatic for the person involved, and they may go through the stages of grief. Grief meaning the grief of losing someone, the perception of losing this opportunity to be with this person, to form a family with this person, to have a future with this person. So the 5 stages of grief may sink in or may set in, starting with the shock, anger, what ifs, blaming, self-doubt, and depression. It's not clinical depression, but it's a feeling of sadness, loneliness, and as we go through this process, acceptance later on.
Healing, the restoration of order and well-being, the coming together of a community to address their fears and aspirations. At the heart of these rituals is the shaman, the healer, traditional spiritual leaders whose knowledge of the spiritual and the natural world make them indispensable to their communities. In their struggles and in their secrets are more sources of dayaw, our knowledge, our pride.
It meant a lot. There are only 3 companies in the Philippines included in the 100 list. It's also validated what we are doing is good for the environment. Aside from that, we're also able to get a new investment from CSEF, Southeast Asia Clean Energy Fund, early this year. We are able to raise $6 million. And for MOBER, it's really something very, very proud that what we are doing is really helping the country also.
Welcome back at the forefront. We have on the line former Congressman Teddy Casino. Good morning po, Congressman Teddy.
Yes, good morning. Magandang umaga po sa lahat.
Maligayang Pasko po, Congressman. Kamusta po kayo?
Okay lang.
Lalo po,
tayo ngayong Pasko.
Alam niyo, ang conversation natin ngayon, yung medyo tumataas ang mga presyo natin, no? Sa tingin niyo ba, bakit mataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin kahit mababa ang inflation rate na ng sabi ng gobyerno po?
Unang-una kasi, kahit na totoong mababa ang inflation rate, from the start mataas kasi yung presyo. Hindi pa tayo nakakabawi since the pandemic days and the war on Ukraine. So talagang mataas na to start with ang presyo. So kahit tumaas ang inflation ng 2 to 3 or even 4%, sabihin ng gobyerno maliit yan, pero dahil mataas na yung base to start with, mataas na yung presyo, talagang mabigat, no? Kahit na maliit lang na pagtaas, mabigat pa rin sa mamamayan.
Ang Makabayan Block ba, meron ko kayo ginagawa tungkol sa mga issues na to, tungkol sa pagtaas ng presyo or pag-maintain ng mataas na presyo?
Of course, pangunahing concern namin yan sa Makabayan Block. So both in legislation at saka yung advocacies natin, we are pushing for the lowering of prices. May ilang paraan dyan Unang-una, kailangan ibaba mismo yung cost of production. And para sa amin, yung presyo ng kuryente at saka ng langis at gasolina ang primary drivers kung bakit napakamahal ng production sa Pilipinas. So we are pushing for either the removal or kahit kalahati man lang tanggalin yung value-added tax. So malakas ang multiplier effect kasi ng presyo ng gasolina, langis at saka kuryente sa production sa ating bansa. So, mabawasan mo man lang yan 6% or kung pwedeng tanggalin yung 12%, makaka-impact yan sa presyo. So, that's one. Pangalawa, yung issue talaga ng cartel operations, no? Ang isang mataas na presyo sa atin, yung pagkain At sa pagkain, pagdating sa bigas, sa asukal, yung onions, ilang mga gulay natin, nandyan talaga yung mga cartels, yung mga traders, na nakakapag-manipulate ng prices, engage in hoarding of supply. So kailangan talaga mag-crackdown ng gobyerno. Palaging iniimbestigahan yung mga kartel na yan, pero walang nakukulong, walang nakakasuhan. So there should be a political will to really go after itong mga kartel.
Sorry ho to interrupt you in mid sentence.
Yes.
Bakit ho walang nakukulong or sa mga investigasyon ho nito parang ang opinion ko lang po sa umpisa lang ho. Pero pagkatapos ng kagitnaan o sa huli, wala rin ho nare-report or wala hong nakukulong or nakakasuhan ho ng gobyerno.
Kasi very powerful and well entrenched itong mga cartels, no? Dekada na ang tinagal ng mga 'yan at nakokontrol nila yung mga ahensyang supposedly nagre-regulate sa kanila like the Department of Agriculture, yung DTI. And then because we have a general policy of deregulation sa ating ekonomiya and liberalization, medyo nawala na rin ang ngipin ang ating gobyerno to go after these traders and cartels. So, kailangan talaga ng stronger political will, I guess. No? At yun nga, may sabuatan kasing nagaganap between the regulatory agencies, the cartels, and even a number of politicians, no, who have oversight over these cartels, kontrolado o mga malalapit na kaibigan at supporters nitong mga cartel.
Opo.
So malalim ang malalim, but there has to be political will to really go after the cartels.
On a personal note Congressman, nakapag-Noche Buena ba naman ang pamilya niyong maayos? Hindi niyo ba naramdaman na mataas na presyo ng mga bilihin?
Ay, syempre naramdaman natin. Pero simple lang naman. Hindi naman kailangan magarbo ang mga Noche Buena.
Siguro
so sinimplihan lang natin.
Siguro ang may bahay niyo nagsasabi niyo sa inyo, Congressman, ito lang ulam natin this year.
Ganun nga. Mabigat talaga.
Ano ba yung simpleng Noche Buena sa inyo, Congressman? Baka makikikain ho kami.
Ay, nagluto lang tayo ng pansit molo.
Wow, masarap po yan.
Ayun. Mga simpleng pagkain lang na pang Pasko.
Maraming salamat sa iyong oras, Congressman Teddy Casino. At
ihabol ko na lang.
Yes, sir.
Bukod sa mismong pagtaas ng presyo, kailangan din gawin ng gobyerno, itaas ang sahod ng ating mga manggagawa. Kasi yung pagbaba ng presyo, medyo long term yan. Hindi kagyat yan makukuha. So in the meantime, kailangan itaas din ang sahod ng ating mga manggagawa. And we have been pushing for a living wage, 1,200 daily minimum wage. Na yun, makakatulong. Kahit tumaas ang presyo, dahil may purchasing power ang ating mga manggagawa, malaking bagay yun. So yun, kailangan din gawin ng gobyerno, pagtaas ng sahod.
Sige, Congressman, namin yan, o-observe ho namin at I'm sure tatawagin rin ho namin kayo ulit pag nangyari na po yan.
Alright.
Maraming pong salamat and happy holidays, Congressman Teddy Casino.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Now, we'll talk about the high prices of commodities. Let me read to you what actor John Arcilla posted on his X account. Hindi ako nagyayabang na mas mataas ang kita ko sa average wage earner at sa mga maraming Pilipino. Pero, can't read that part, ang taas ng bilihin ngayon ng basic commodities sa palengke. Mga 5 to 6 years ago, yung 3 to 4,000 pesos pala pang isang linggo nakasama na dun ang gulay, isda at karne. 1,500 na gulay, pamalengke, 1,500 na isda at karne. Ngayon, pamalengke ng isang linggo, 8 to 10,000 pesos kumita ako ng mataas sa karaniwan. Pero nalulula ako sa gastos. Paano pa yung simpleng mamamayan? Kala ko ba tinitino ng tayo, excuse my Tagalog po. But that is from actor John Arcilla's comment on X. And of course, joining me this morning is my colleague, the beautiful Miss Anne. Hello, Miss Beautiful.
Hi, Ferdi!
Good to see you on set this morning.
I know. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes,
hindi na
because
usapang showbiz ang pag-uusapan
hindi
natin
usapang
today.
showbiz, but usapang realidad.
Yes, realidad.
Because you are a mother.
I am.
You're a homemaker and a career woman. So you know exactly what's going on in the consumer world.
Yes.
Do you do groceries and make palenque?
Yeah, I make palengke, I do groceries. But you know what? I really feel, when you were reading yung tweet ni, or text ni, ano man tawag ngayon? Twitter kasi dati, X na ngayon. So yung post niya sa X, there you go. I really felt that. And the dulong part was, kala ko titino na tayo.
Yeah, may
That was his
Tagalog
line.
got kind of blundered there. So
akala ko ba titino na tayo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like previously, I'm sure you heard my conversation with Congressman Teddy Casino and Atty. Rodel, no?
Yes.
And of course, we just read the tweet of or the X message of this actor. In your personal opinion, what hurts more? Food, transportation, education, or like tuition fee? How many kids do you have, by the way?
I have one daughter.
One child, yeah, okay.
Yes, one child policy lang ako eh.
Okay.
Ang mahal ngayon
It is quite expensive.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know, I can't really rank it like food, transport, kung ano yung pinaka mabigat, but all of them put together, because these are all basic commodities and you need them all, di ba?
Yes.
Like in your daily life.
Yes.
So the expenses talaga, ang taas ngayon. And I felt kanina what they said na, or what John Arcilla said na dati 3,000 pesos, kasya na yun for a week. Now, hindi na talaga. I think 3,000 pesos, what? Isang ano lang? 2 days?
No, in fact, yesterday na grocery ko. Yes, I do the groceries and I love going to the palengke.
I would love to go with you on a grocery trip para makita ko ano yung
Mas
mga
maganda if
nilalagay
you go
mo
with
sa
me to
cart
go to the
mo.
palengke. Because
Okay.
there's certain palenques I go to for certain stuff.
Okay.
Because the prices vary, right? What they say in the culinary world, what grows together goes together. So mean to say, you cut the distance between a certain, like, for example, onions, garlic. If I had the opportunity to go up to the north, let's say La Union, Tarlac, the prices can be relatively cheaper. With my experience, di ba? So yesterday, yung sinabi mo 3,000 pesos, just say 3,000 pesos, I was only able to get roughly 6 kilos of beef.
Okay.
Between the prices of 450-something pesos to 650 pesos. I can even remember what they were.
Okay.
Like, for example, the thin meat for tapa, beef tapa, that's about $600 plus. Pero
1 kilo of that.
1 kilo of that. Pero yung the mga buto-buto that you can use for caldereta
Yes.
or for sinigang and stuff like that. Yun, mga 470 pesos.
Yes.
Di ba? Totoo yan. Talaga nag-grocery ako.
Yeah.
So the 3,000 pesos only got me roughly 6 kilos of meat.
Di ba? Meat pa lang yun. Wala ka pa ng mga basic needs mo like your toiletries.
Correct. I mean, given
other-
Ann, I can go to a place where prices can differ between 5 to 10 pesos, even 20 pesos sometimes. But of course, would you feed your family less quality? You always
true.
give them
You
the
always
best
want
quality that you can afford, di ba?
The sad part is not everybody can actually do that. Diba?
Yes.
We really want to put the good stuff, good quality food on the table. But sometimes we have budget constraints. So mapipilitan ka talaga to buy cheaper items, diba? Ngayon talagang 8 to 10,000. What John Arcilla said was so true. Your budget for a week, 8 to 10,000 na talaga. Minsan kulang pa nga yung 10,000 if you want to get
Kulang talaga
lalo na
ang
ngayong
10,000.
Christmas season kasi nagtaas ang presyo ng ham.
Correct.
'Di ba? That's why a day before we were reporting about the price increase in ham sa A Beautiful Day. And then nagbumaba yung number of buyers this year.
But talking about the price of ham, because we had that disease that hit the hog industry.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's reeled from that yet. That's why mataas pa rin ang presyo ng pork,
Yeah.
right? So I understand about the ham. Yung isang kilo, you can definitely feel the difference from this season
compared to last year or
last
previous
season,
years.
even 3 years
Yeah,
ago. Iba
yeah.
talaga ang presyo. What about vegetables? I mean, before I ask you about the vegetables, how many people live in your household?
My husband, me, my daughter, and our helper. Yeah.
Okay. So
And my
4
dog.
people. And
my dog and my 10 cats.
Your dog, and that's expensive too. Your
Yeah.
dog and your 10 cats, because we don't. Well, at least somebody can tell me if it's done here, no. But I don't think our country produces like pet food.
We have actually mga local made.
Yeah,
think
I'm
we
not
do.
sure.
I
I'm
think
not
we
sure.
do, we
But
do.
most of the
Yes.
stuff, because I do have fur children. I have 2. And my human child is not that furry, so. But the prices of imported or dog food that are imported, mataas na rin. But
Mahal.
yeah, so what about vegetables? Where do you normally buy? Palengke or grocery store?
I usually go to the grocery for vegetables.
Okay.
And nagmahal na rin yun, ha?
Like what particular vegetables do you
It
purchase?
actually depends on our menu for the week. So if we're gonna be having sinigang, kare-kare, so my grocery list will be based on what we have for that particular week,
Correct.
kung ano yung dishes namin.
Yeah.
So most of the time, there's always potatoes in the ref, yung mga basic ganyan,
Yes.
diba? There, so I get...
For a family of 3 plus your domestic staff and the fur children, how much is an average, do you think, somebody should budget per week?
What do you mean? Sa groceries?
Yeah.
Like everything na?
Yeah, or personal?
Personal? Oh, our budget is roughly 10 to 12,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 10 to 12,000.
That's a lot. Because I'll tell you this, no? Before, I would see, if I go to like a deli that sells vegetables, I would see imported vegetables, like for example, cauliflower,
Yeah.
iceberg lettuce
Yes.
from Australia. And when I used to look at the prices, I was like, wow, this is gold. Talagang yung presyong ginto.
Yeah.
But if you compare it, for example, may typhoon. It hits the north, di ba? Where we grow our vegetables, or our highland vegetables. The prices are actually pretty much the same. So what am I going to buy? I'd rather buy yung imported, because there's more out of a kilo rather than the ones that are being brought
Yeah.
down from our vegetable baskets. Do you feel the same way?
Me naman, I like supporting local.
I do too, at
oo.
least 1,000%.
Yes. So
But of course,
if the prices are the same compared to, if we're comparing like imported vegetables and the ones from our local farms, even if the price is the same, I'd still go for the local farms.
okay,
Yeah.
even with the quality?
Even, because sometimes it depends on where you go. Like there are groceries naman na the produce are fresh. Yeah, so I would still prefer getting from local produce, local farms, just to support our industry.
Absolutely, I'm all for that. What about meat? Where do you of course you go to the grocery store for that, right?
Grocery, yes.
Yeah, how much do you allot for meat?
For meat, let's say 3,000 pesos.
Do you buy more meat or seafood?
We rarely get seafood eh.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe preference then.
Ah.
Yeah, but most of the time we just get yung usual bangos like that. But shrimps, rarely. So we're more, mahal din kasi.
Because right? I can tell you because I'm a palengke guy.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Bangus can cost between 160, depending on the
Mahal,
size,
yeah,
160 pesos to 220 pesos, based on the last time I went to the palengke. So that's roughly half a kilo of, let's say, beef.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But then you get a whole kilo. So you don't prefer to eat seafood? Is that the preference?
It's just a taste preference ng family. But most of the time, if I'm gonna get fish, it's usually bangos, and then I get like 2 kilos just to make them kasha sa all the family members.
Correct.
Diba? Yeah. There.
Kasi ako, are you a hoarder? Hoarder in the sense that I want to buy now a lot because the prices are good.
Yeah.
In that sense, okay, I might get bashed for that.
But you know what? I used to be like that. Like I'd buy na a lot and
Yes.
then just put them in the freezer.
Correct.
Para just to use them in the future,
Yes.
right? Kaya lang ngayon, when you're at a budget, ang hirap. Parang kasi you have 10,000 pesos to spend, and as much as you want to get a lot of meat or a lot of vegetables, well, you can't hoard vegetables, but
No.
meat, frozen goods. Ang hirap eh. You're controlling your budget.
Yes, but you know, Anne, what I've done is nag-research ako. I've researched on like highly perishable goods, such as vegetables. You said
Right.
root crops, mga ganon, like ginger. So if I find in the market na ginger na medyo mababa, I hoard. Tapos, I just stick them in the freezer. And it totally works. So you divvy them up, and then you only use a portion, and they stay longer.
I should do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I bought myself a dehydrator.
Okay.
And I dehydrate vegetables.
My gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it helps me
Wala akong
augment my budget.
dehydrator. I will
It's not
buy
that expensive,
one. I
but
will buy one.
yeah, like for example, you buy fruits, diba? I'm sure your daughter loves to
Yes,
eat
yes,
fruits.
yes.
So before the fruits go bad, like for example, apples, right? I dehydrate them and I create them into a snack.
Yeah.
Para hindi nasisira.
Oo.
Diba? Kasi mahal. Kasi okay, minsan, like for example, pag pupunta ako sa seafood market or pupunta ako sa, let's say, in Bohol or
Right,
someplace
right.
like that. And meron akong extra luggage sa plane. I hoard na because it's so cheap.
Okay.
And it's not only bangus, like stuff that you won't sap, anything
Yes,
that's
yes.
not fresh
Yeah.
farmed or farmed in, like, let's say in Dagupan and stuff like that. I find it cheaper and then freeze everything.
No, ang dali eh. You know what? I want to do that as well, like dehydrate. Alam mo, meron pang ways on how to dehydrate your vegetables and fruits at home without the dehydrator.
How?
Like you can actually use your oven, if I'm not mistaken. I saw like a hack. So
Really?
dehydrating your
So it's just a certain temperature.
I think so, if
Pero,
I'm not mistaken.
okay, but then,
But I don't want to do that. It's so tedious. Pero yeah, that's a good tip actually, di ba? Kaya lang, alam mo ngayon sa high prices, minsan ang hirap talaga to buy a lot in
Correct,
bulk. So you
correct.
only buy what you need for that particular, like a week or
Yes.
two, ganun. Kung ano lang yung kailangan mo.
Yes. What about canned goods and stuff like that? Do you hoard that? Because sometimes medyo bumababa ang presyo,
Yes,
di
yes.
ba?
Tsaka minsan they're on sale, ganyan. So
Correct.
you buy a lot and then that one you can stack in your pantry, right? And all.
What about utilities? Kasi during Christmas, of course, your aircon usage is a little lower kasi medyo malamig ang panahon.
Hindi rin.
Hindi rin.
Hindi rin.
What are your money-saving tips on utility usage? What do you
Well,
spend? Okay, electricity, obviously.
Electricity,
And then you've got water, cable.
Yes. Cable, yes.
What else?
I think that's it.
Your
Kasi
pool?
Your what?
Your pool, your internet.
Yes, internet, yeah, cable. We don't have cable.
Okay.
Kasi we just watch, streaming platforms.
Oh, so watch
anyway,
BNC on the streaming platform.
Yes, yeah, YouTube. BNC has a YouTube
Yes,
page,
yes, I
right?
do
So
watch
I
it.
watch everything on the YouTube page. So cable, and then electricity and water. Yeah, put them all
Do you
together.
know-
That's all my sweldo already.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel you. Do you know that there's certain parts of Metro Manila wherein water is more expensive than the other?
Really?
Yes.
Depends on the
area.
the provider.
Not only the provider, but the
Kasi
area.
di ba merong iba?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I won't mention which areas, but certain areas in the metropolis actually
Have cheaper water?
have more expensive water.
More expensive.
Yeah, because reportedly or allegedly or
Why is that?
arguably, all the A's, you can actually drink tap water from certain areas. But I'm not
In the
endorsing that.
Philippines?
Yeah, I'm not
Oh, I'm
endorsing
shocked.
that
I didn't know
because I
that.
haven't done my tests. But these are the things that are being mentioned to us when we were paying certain utilities.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes.
I thought pwede lang like in Japan, you can drink tap water.
Even
but
then,
in
di
the
ba, we don't
Philippines-
drink. Hang on, Anne. At the forefront, we'll be back after a short break here on BNC. We are back at the forefront, and we still have with us Miss Anne Asis-Carilo talking about prices of basic goods. And this is a lot of fun because we don't normally talk about it with co-anchors, but
I know. And
this is great.
I would never talk about that with you, actually.
Well, I don't understand.
Off the air, we were were comparing our budget for groceries and palengke stuff, oh my gosh, your budget's like what? Oh my
No,
goodness.
because it's necessary.
Yeah, it is.
But talking about, I learned my budgeting from my mom.
Okay.
And how to cut costs and stuff like that. Because my mom is the type of parent wherein when you're traveling, you're going to, let's say, Tarlac or where we're from, or Pampanga, or going down to Batangas or whatever. Pag may nakita siya sa street, we have to stop the car. And then she'll buy from the barong-barong, and then she'll hoard the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I got from her. What are your cost-saving tips from your mom or your dad or whomever?
Cost-saving tips? Well, una, I stick to my budget. If I only have 10,000 for this particular grocery trip, then I'll just, stick to that amount. Hindi ako kukuha ng mga unnecessary stuff.
That's hard.
Unless
How
I
do you
feel
control?
Wala. Don't go to the grocery on an empty stomach.
I always do. This is why I get in trouble.
if you're hungry if you're hungry and you do your groceries, chances are you're just gonna get a lot of stuff that you don't need.
Yes.
So if you're busog and then you do your groceries, that's a weird tip. But yeah, it works actually.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah,
that
if
that
you're
works.
busog, you won't tend to get too much snacks.
Yeah. And our
diba?
crew agrees also. I can hear laughter.
So you really have to go to the grocery feeling full already.
Yes.
Tapos, I try as much as possible not to turn on the aircon when it's not needed. When it's a cool day naman, like what you mentioned earlier, December, malamig naman. Kaya lang, ang hirap eh. No, it's so automatic that when you get home, you turn on the air conditioning. But I try.
Yeah, I love aircon, but you know what? In the middle of the night, I turn it off. For some
Oh yeah,
reason.
you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I'm too cold. But the thing, a lot of people have a misconception on like dropping the temperature of the air conditioner immediately. What you're supposed to do is you can actually turn it on earlier, but keep a certain temperature that you're comfortable with, and keep it at that. Don't go fluctuate, because that's where your utility bill like gets slapped.
Yeah.
Diba? And what about wholesale shopping? Do you agree with wholesale shopping?
I know that you do that, right? Yes.
She just threw me under the bus. And we're friends. You're on my side.
No, but that actually helps,
Yeah.
diba? If you go wholesale.
Yeah.
That's why some people, they go to those groceries or supermarkets na may wholesale.
Wholesale clubs,
Yeah. So it is cheaper. And then makikita mo, like, their carts are so full with these boxes and everything. Kasi cheaper in the long run when you think about it. Oh, you have
Correct.
toilet paper, other utilities, diba? Yung mga laundry detergent.
Yes.
So you get na talaga. You shop in bulk na.
Yeah, I shop in bulk,
Yeah.
but I share it with different households.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Totally, because I don't have space for storage because I live vertically. So I'm a building dweller, so I tend to like buy bulk because it sparks joy in my life.
As long
I'm
as
not
it makes
denying
you
it. I'm
happy.
putting it out there.
Wala
Yeah.
naman. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that as long as it makes you happy. And buying in wholesale is really cheaper than getting tingi-tingi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't it spark joy with you?
It
When
does.
you buy bulk?
I know. Pero yeah, ang hirap. You just really have to stick to your budget. And there.
So next time when I go wholesale shopping, I'm gonna give you a call first. Sweetie, I'm
Ayoko
buying
na
toilet
ng
paper.
budget mo. It's just gonna make me feel so sad.
No, it is sad when I pay for I pay period. It is a sad thing.
Pero
but
you
it's-
know what? Speaking of sad, no, I remember kanina during our show,
Yes.
the morning show, we were talking about this recent SWS report na there are more Filipinos who are expecting a sad Christmas talaga this year compared to the previous year. So malungkot ang Pasko for most Filipinos. And Paolo and Monique and I were discussing like, bakit kaya? And I think it's mainly because of the high prices ng goods. Especially ngayong Christmas kasi, magsha-shopping ka talaga for for not just the gifts but also your food, 'di ba? Yung Noche Buena mo and everything. And dahil ang mahal, you already know na yung last year na feast nyo, if it was bountiful, ngayon medyo konti na lang.
Less bountiful.
Ganyan. So I guess that's mainly the reason why a lot of Filipinos are expecting a sad Christmas this year.
That makes my heart break because obviously Christmas is a time for celebration and and expressing how much you've worked the whole year, Christmas and New Year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think there are ways to mitigate that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whatever budget you have.
Yes, just work within your budget, diba? And at least
And be
you know-
creative.
Yeah, yeah. And at least look at the bright side na at least your family's together and you're gathered during Christmas
Kasi,
time,
yeah,
diba?
because during Christmas, and we tend to overspend and we're like revved up.
Oh my
Okay, I
gosh.
gotta buy this, I gotta
That's
buy
so
that.
true.
Because we do have the Christmas yabang factor. Okay? The Christmas yabang factor is I bought all these things for you guys,
Yes,
not for
yes.
me, but because I can.
Yeah.
Then you feel sad after you spend that amount of money because you're like, 1 second.
When you get your bills, your
Yes.
credit card bills, then you feel
Absolutely.
sad.
Or
Yeah.
not even credit card bills. Pag yung wallet mo medyo, before pumasok ka sa tindahan, medyo mataba yung wallet mo. Tapos biglang nag-diet, di ba? In a matter of 30 minutes, di ba?
Yes.
Doon ang sad. That's what you call buyer's remorse.
Oo. We want us to lose weight, not our wallets.
Correct.
Kailangan tayo yung pumayat, not the wallet.
Which is a positive thing, huh? You know, keep it on a diet. Thank you so much, Miss Ann Asis-Carilo, for
welcome.
being with us today. I
Thank you
always
for
enjoy my
having me.
conversations with you. Filipinos are known to be resilient and creative when it comes to coping with high prices of basic commodities. But for how long can our resiliency withstand the soaring prices? Be timely, informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us tomorrow for meaningful conversations that would help you form an objective personal opinion. This is Ferdi Salvador on behalf of Atty. Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.